If you're new to this channel, or you haven't figured out from the abundance of Steven Universe content on this channel, the show is one of my favorite animated series currently running on Cartoon Network. However, throughout the show's run, there's something that slowly bothers me over time.
Dad!
I'm not that far away, Steven.
Steven has barely aged physically over the course of the series, and I think it's about time that's changed. And believe it or not, I'm confident that change isn't as far off as we may think. In fact, we may have the formula laid out. Let's dive right into it today on Crystal Clear. Welcome back to Crystal Clear on the Roundtable. I'm your host, Ostrich Vox, and we're going to be trying out a new format for the show. So please, when you're finished, leave feedback in the comments. Also, if you haven't seen the San Diego Comic-Con trailer and sneak peek, go watch those now and come back. Or click off the video if you don't want to be spoiled. Season 5 of Steven Universe is definitely a turning point for the show, and holds a lot of significance. Going into the season, we knew it'd be massive, as from what we know, it's the last batch of episodes from the original Season 2 and 3 renewal, which was split in Seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5. Rebecca Sugar stated that, endgame or not, we're shooting for the stars. With that being said, let's talk about the future of the series and Steven himself with a segment I like to call, What, How, and Why, where we propose a question or two as a foundation for a theory. Now, all the major revelations that occurred in such a short amount of time have caused a portion of viewers to believe that the show is nearing its end. I disagree. I think with the abundance of Beach City and slice of life episodes we've gotten, the Crewniverse is taking their time setting up the world of the show before diving right in. Realistically, while we've gained more knowledge than we started with, we, just like Steven, still know virtually nothing about Homeworld or the Diamonds. Now, just looking at the current state of the show from behind the scenes, it's fairly obvious Season 5 isn't the end of the series. The voice actors are recording episodes every week, episodes are still being pitched and, of course, storyboarded. Season 5 was being planned all the way back in late 2015, so I'm assuming production began around the same time. In my opinion, I think Season 5 isn't the end, but the halfway point. Season 4 concluded with Steven's human and gem lives becoming more intertwined than it's ever been, with the humans being abducted. But what solidified that these two aspects are no longer segregated is Lars. Right next to Steven, he's definitely been impacted the most by all of this. We've finally also seen Homeworld after it was alluded to all the way back in the climax of Mirror Gem in Season 1. Steven finally came face to face with the Diamonds, and we had the beginning of a huge breakthrough in Steven learning about Pink Diamond shattering, a mission he set out on back in Season 4. All of this happened only in the first 4 episodes of Season 5. And if what was shown at San Diego Comic-Con is any indication, the series seems to be transitioning from an Earth-based story to a space-based story. Another thing many fans expressed a desire to see. Going into the second half of the series, wouldn't it be nice to feature an aged-up Steven? I mean, despite what he said in Too Short to Ride.
Good thing I grew out of those shoes.
Steven still doesn't look or sound that much different than he has in the beginning of the series. Actually, let me retract that. His voice to the audience has changed, but that's only because Zach Collison's voice has changed. Steven's current voice actually sounds a bit younger at times than his original voice, and has never been acknowledged by a character, which tells me that in universe, his voice hasn't had a noticeable change. And his lack of growth was the focus of Steven's birthday, which we'll shine some light on in a second. A lot of time has passed since Steven first summoned his shield, but he also just can't suddenly wake up one day and be 6 feet tall, which has us asking, when will Steven finally age? What needs to happen for him to age? And how will it happen? To answer those questions, we're going to need to form a hypothesis, which is also the next segment of the show. As we learn Steven's birthday, Steven's physical appearance hasn't progressed since he was about 9 years old. Although, as we referenced earlier, Too Short to Ride insinuated that Steven is at least growing in mass, even if his physical features aren't changing at this point in time. The episode So Many Birthdays in the beginning of the series revealed that Steven's gem ages him in correlation to a state of mind, and in both birthday episodes, we see how extreme Steven can take that on both ends. This makes sense though. A gem's physical form is just a projection with mass, and although Steven's appearance is actual meat and bones, just like how a gem regenerates into a form that reflects who they are, Steven, under an amount of stress, will cause his gem to overreact, reflecting who he feels he is in that moment. For example, Steven was freaking out that Connie views him as too young, and not only did he feel like a child, but a baby, which caused his gem to alter his form back into a baby. Steven hasn't aged in years because his state of mind doesn't feel any older. You may be thinking, okay, but so much has happened to him. He witnessed Jasper's downfall, barely survived Bismuth's attempted murder, learned Rose shattered Pink Diamond, trapped in the vastest space with Eyeball, who tried to murder him for healing her gem. He indirectly caused his dad to be kidnapped by Blue Diamond, the list goes on. While all that is valid, all any of that accomplished was make him think his mom is not that great of a person. And that Blue Diamond's batshit crazy. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to feel any older, and that's due to something very specific holding Steven back. Despite all the out-of-this-world madness that occurs in Steven's life, the root of his growth deficiency is actually something pretty relatable. It's because he's still being treated like a kid. Despite everything that's happened, the crystal gems are still withholding information from him. He's still being babied by Greg, although since Greg is his father, that's something that's likely never going to change. And all around, he's still being underestimated. The only time Steven hasn't been treated like a child is when dealing with the likes of Homeworld, and that's because they don't understand the lifespan of a human. The only time his maturity has been acknowledged was in the good Lars.
When did you get so mature?
Somewhere in between learning to summon my shield and finding out my mom is a war criminal.
You could also argue the test, but in that instance, Steven was being manipulated into thinking he was in some impossible to pass test as a confidence boost. Sounds like a page taken right out of a parenting book. The only thing the Crystal Gems have willingly done in terms of showcasing they're aware of Steven's maturity is let him go on more gem missions and acknowledging that he too is a Crystal Gem. Should the Crystal Gems finally bite the bullet and tell Steven everything they know, or at least a sizable amount, he'll feel a lot more closer to them and a lot more mature in return. If he feels like they're actually entrusting him with bombshells and a higher position of power, he'll feel like he's actually growing up, because that tends to be how these kind of situations roll in real life. I know when my family started including me in more grown-up things, confiding in me, and trusting that I can make the right decisions on my own, I began to feel a lot older as a result. Running a media company at 19 also boosted up that morale a bit. The Crystal Gems need to stop kidding themselves. Steven turned himself in and went to Homeworld of his own accord. He met the Diamonds face to face. He just witnessed his own friend die and resurrected him. And he made it back to Earth, living to tell the tale. If Garnet and Pearl specifically still underestimate what he can and can't handle after all of that, then I'm going to lose my mind. But things are heating up quick in the series, and they may be running out of time to stall, which means they gotta start coughing up information sooner rather than later. So what's our hypothesis? Easy. Steven will begin to physically age once Garnet and Pearl cease to treat him like a kid and inform him on what they know about the Gem War, the Diamonds, and the dark and gritty side of Rose Quartz. Steven may also experience a huge event and revelation that results in him aging. Sound feasible? I sure think so. But that brings us to our conclusion. The odds of the Crystal Gems actually revealing their secrets to Steven may actually happen pretty soon. Like, in the next few episodes soon. Pearl has a line of dialogue that makes you raise an eyebrow in the San Diego Comic-Con trailer.
There are things that are impossible for me to explain, but I want to.
And we see what appears to be a flashback of the gems combating against Pink Diamond. While Steven will also have to hear the side of a Homeworld gem to get the full story, I'm vouching for Jasper, the Crystal Gems coming clean would be a great start to a transition in Steven's own character and appearance. I also believe they're going to start entrusting him a lot more responsibilities as he and Connie travel alone to visit Lars. I doubt he'd do this without informing the gems, should something happen and he's disappeared without a trace. Garnet and especially Pearl allowing him to travel to Homeworld once more knowing the risk is major and definitely showcases some hardcore trust. Many people have made remarks that Connie appears older and Lars are the stars. Although I still think it's just her hair, there's no denying she's more Tara than Steven than usual. But the show is no stranger to height inconsistencies. If this really is Connie aging, then perhaps they're setting up Steven not being too far behind. VG Marcus also pointed out on Twitter that Lars himself seems to have beefed up a bit, which again could be storyboard inconsistencies, or it could be him leveling up a bit as well. That some time has passed and now his body is reflecting that. Even after the Crystal Gems tell Steven all the juicy little secrets we've been dying to hear, I don't see him aging up instantly. I think that, in conjunction with a diamond confrontation, would be the solution. Imagine season 5 ending with Steven and the gems going toe to toe with one of the diamonds. Steven does something huge, something along the lines of a new power. There's a great big flash, and when Steven regains consciousness, he's surrounded by everyone, but we only see it from his point of view at first. As the scene progresses, we see he's finally grown up a bit. Maybe along the line of how he looked aged up in Steven's birthday, with a deeper voice to boot. That'd probably make things a bit easier for Zach Callison. Keep in mind, Steven Universe does have a very strong anime and manga influence, and they're no stranger to time skips or the main character aging up a few years. If we really are only at the halfway point, I can see season 5 concluding with Steven's permanent growth spurt that we stick with season 6 onwards. As always, these are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours. So drop them in the comments below. Do you even want to see Steven age, or do you want him to remain a small being forever? Or at least until the very end of the series? Let's get a discussion going. Don't forget we have our Yellow Diamond and Blue Diamond t-shirts on Teespring, and we're actually going to be moving our store over to Stash Riot fairly soon, so get them before the Teespring store is wiped out. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, it really helps us out. Be sure to hit that bell for notifications so you can never miss a video from the Roundtable. And if you want to keep the conversation going beyond the comments, you can tweet to us at Roundtable Vids or at me at OstricFox. And check the description to get the rest of our social media, and follow our other hosts while you're at it. I hope you have a beautiful day, and OstricFox signing out. This video has been powered by Patreon. If you want to give us some more support, head to patreon.com/roundtablevids, become a patron, and get some awesome perks. Thanks for watching another video on the Roundtable. If you want to get more involved with our community and watch videos from Let's Talk with Tom, Voxbox, and more, click the video right here. Or if you want to get some more of the animation goodness, watch some Crystal Clear or Meeting Monday, click the video right here. And please, don't forget to subscribe.